Hi, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Arkariem with Karie Gonia and Mark Edgar Stephens. As always, Karie and I will be discussing a singular topic from the perspective of head, heart, and spirit. This week's topic is all about family. Before we get into our question, we are going to introduce ourselves. Karie, can you please tell everyone who you are?
My name is Karie Gonia, and I am a facilitator in a therapy called Family Constellation Therapy. I help people clean up ancestral trauma.
And I am Mark Edgar Stephens. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and I offer my services to individuals, to companies, and to nonprofit organizations as a coach and consultant. Together, we are Arkariem, and this week, our family constellation therapist, Karie Gonia, is going to ask the question. Take it away, Karie.
I'm so excited about this question, Mark. I would love to know, what is family and how does family evolve or not?
Good question. Okay, so for me, family is blood, but family is not necessarily blood. So family can be anyone that you choose to grow with, to learn with, to hold close to. I call it your inner circle. So your inner circle are the people that you trust with your most precious information, your most precious life events. Family can very often be the traditional mother, father, and the kids, and that is one definition of family. But family can also be the family that you adopt along the way. Your four-legged friends are part of your family. Your friends that know you, that get you, that support you. The children of your friends who become like your godchildren, or you become like an aunt or an uncle. It's anyone that you choose to stay in consistent and constant connection to. And that does not necessarily mean that you call them every day. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're visiting them every year. It means it's a person that you think about that makes your heart expand. It makes you want to give to them unconditionally. It makes you want to share with them. To me, that's what family is. And so, for people who are estranged from their family, from people who are no longer talking to their primary family or primary caretakers, either through choice or because of death or changes in life, we can always have family around us. But family is about committing fully and completely with the heart for someone's growth and allowing them to be a part of your growth. And to me, that's what family is. You asked, how does it evolve? One of the things that happens quite often when clients talk with me about family is they say, I've done all of this work, I've done all of this work, yet when I go back to my family, I get triggered with all of these, things. And part of the reason you get triggered is because you're wanting your family to still be different from who they were when you were growing up. So even if you evolve, if we evolve, if I evolve as an individual, and my family is still very much who they were 20, 30, 40 years ago, that is their right. That is their absolute right. So the issue is not with the family. The issue is with me wanting to make it different, or with me wanting to make a change in the family. And so I always say, how does the family evolve or not? There is no requirement for family to show up in any specific way other than with the open heart to love and to support and to grow together. And sometimes that growth is about learning that some people are going to change greatly over the years, and some people are going to change very little. And it's not our job to try to change them. It's our job to be in a place of acceptance of the family, whether they're blood family or the friends in our lives. And also with that evolution, that, it brings us to new understandings of people. It brings us to new understandings of ourselves. And sometimes it makes room for something that we really need to come in because of the evolution of the family, or the lack of evolution in someone's growth, if we want to call it lack of evolution or slower evolution, that changes something then within the individual. And that's why, to me, family is important. And for you?
I mean, family is everything for me. I feel like I've dedicated my life to the ins and outs of healing trauma in family systems. I think there are so many generational programs around, that nuclear family being the end all be all, but in really abusive, toxic situations, it doesn't evolve. So I actually really well, two things. I love that you talked about the expansion of what family really means, because I always try and really shift the perspective with clients of, yes, you're born into this family, this system, this tribe, whatever you want to call it. But again, if it's toxic, if it's abusive, if you're the only one doing work and nothing's shifting and you're still being harmed, it's like to have that higher perspective of what you can cultivate and co-create outside of that family. And I love that the evolve or not part of this question, because again, I think we've all been spoon fed of like, okay, we're in this system and we're all in it together and we're gonna like ride that train to the end, and you have to stick it out and you have to like put up with really bad behavior or whatever the example is. But sometimes I've seen this a lot in my work. There are families that either don't evolve or don't, I don't want to say don't evolve enough, because I feel like in every situation, the shifts are magnificent for clients, and you will start to see the family system shift. That was actually my favorite part about family constellation therapy. When I started doing them really, really consistently and working on my stuff, it was like everyone in my family started shifting. But there are some family systems that have, massive, massive amounts of trauma that take a bit of time to kind of unwind. Because I find, I'm curious your take on this, Mark. I find that there's a lot of sometimes shame attached to not having the perfect upbringing or not, growing up in trauma or whatever. And so I think just kind of what you said of taking your hands off the wheel and realizing everyone's on their own journey and you doing your part to heal the family within yourself too,
The thing that you said there about the shame around not having the perfect family, I'm about to really tell my age here, but yes, if you look back at the sitcoms of the 70s, you look at the Brady Bunch and you think, well, why isn't my family like that? Or the Partridge Family, even, like, why isn't my family like that? Like going way back, taking a look at way back. Sorry for anybody that's, it's not way back, but, you take a look at Leave It to Beaver, you take a look at some of those, wonderful early sitcoms, and you think, well, that's not the way my family is. So there must be something wrong with my family. And of course, then you get older and then you realize, oh, wait a minute. No, most families are dysfunctional, even the ones, and I've even heard people say this, here's what my dysfunction is. I never saw my parents fight. I've heard that before. I never saw my parents fight. Therefore, I knew something was off, but we never saw it. So it was like we were keeping a secret. So whether your family was like, fighting, disagreeing, separating, alcohol, money, whatever the thing may be, or not, even if it looked like the perfect family, it seems like everybody has experienced some sort of dysfunction in that way. So parents who try so hard, who want so much to provide the perfect family, sometimes that creates a dysfunction too. I don't know that there's any way, completely get around it, because we are each these souls that are evolving in our own ways, and our family system that we are born into, even with the trauma, even with all of the things that are unwanted, undesirable, there is some divine, I'm not going to say human perfection, there is some divine perfection in the system that we're born into for us to either overcome, evolve, change, grow, understand, whatever that thing may be, which is, I feel, I'm going to just say it, bigger than me. We get to the point where we either say, am I going to learn, grow, and evolve from what my family roots are, or whatever my family trauma is, or am I not? And I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong in that, because the choice is what's important in that. And again, when somebody's dealing with really deep family trauma, like you're talking about, you brought up like the really, abuse, like, when we're talking about severe abuse, I would never say to somebody, oh, you know what, just love everybody through that.
Yeah,
No, you got to deal with like what you really feel. Like, what do you feel? Like, what is that? You don't have to go back into that. You don't have to try to go and make that right with somebody in the physical, but you have the option, the choice of being able to reframe it in your own mind or your own experience, which is where I think a lot of your work comes in. Yes.
Yes, because some of that evolution is personal, right? If you've got family system, mom, dad, brother, aunt, uncle, whatever, stuck in this really toxic system and that's not evolving, you have to make the choice to evolve yourself, you know. And I think, again, the part of this work that is so extraordinary is they have now proven that cleaning up ancestral trauma actually clears all of the energy going backwards and it prevents that energy from moving forward. So I always tell people, if you have the courage to show up and do the work, especially facing your family, I think bar none will be our greatest teachers in this lifetime or any lifetime. But I always tell people, if you have the courage to show up and face the family, whether it was perfect or not, it's like that's what sets you free, you know.
Karie, I so appreciate the work that you do, and I know that when I've worked with you, there was a sense of being set free from certain things, that we carry around. Sometimes things that we don't realize that we carry around: shame, blame, guilt. The masks that we start to wear to be either something the family wants us to be, or the mask we wear to try to protect ourselves from the family, or the mask we wear to put out there in the world and say, see, it wasn't all that bad. We were okay. We did okay. Or, oh my gosh, I'm carrying this around. Like, I cannot move forward because of what my past, whatever the thing may be. Like, we wear masks in all sorts of different ways. And I believe that your work really does help cut the mask, because we get to see what's the character that I've adopted, what's the character that I've been carrying around because of the way I've framed my family. And can I cut that mask and get closer and closer to the authenticity of the love and the spirit that I am underneath shame, blame, guilt, overachiever, perfect child, humiliation, whatever the thing may be. So I really feel like your work is so important in all of that.
Yeah, because oftentimes we're wearing masks from the trauma that came before, right? So that part is so extraordinary. It's like, oh, is this even my mask? It's like, let's take that off and give it back to whoever it belongs to, and they can just keep passing it back. So yeah, I love that you brought that up.
So with that, anybody out there that would like for us to discuss more deeply or discuss a different subject, a different topic, you have questions for us, you can always write to us at talktoarkariem@gmail.com. And that's TALK, the number 2, arkariem@gmail.com. As always, we like to end every episode with Karie sharing something with us about the subject we're talking about. So today's subject is family. Karie is a family constellation therapist. Karie, take us out with something about family.
You know how much I love tools. So I always encourage people, if you are really wanting to evolve within the family system, take a piece of paper, line down the middle on the left side, all of your patterns, quirks, any areas where you're feeling stuck. And then on the right side, write mom and dad's patterns and see where they start to line up.